longtime local attorney. At this point, I've been practicing for almost 20 years. In that 20 years, I spent some of that time as a Travis County prosecutor. I spent many years doing exclusively criminal defense. And at this point in my career, I spend a large portion of my time representing parents in cases very similar to the Robertson case. I say that just to let the audience know that I've seen these cases from all sides. I've seen how they're prosecuted. I've seen them from the criminal justice perspective, and now I see them every single day, more on the CPS side. Robert Robertson's case happened in 2003. I can unequivocally tell you that the situation with false allegations of child abuse has gotten exponentially worse since that time. The reason for that is because a little area, well, if you want to call it a specialty, but there was a specialty created for what's called child abuse pediatrics in 2009. And when that happened, the allegations of child abuse went through the roof. It wasn't because more people began abusing their tiny infants. It was because we had a group of people whose sole goal is to look, find, bend over backwards, do gymnastics to create an abuse case where one doesn't exist. I can tell you that in less than 2 years, I have represented successfully and won 10 different false allegation of child abuse cases at the CPS level. The first stop on these cases is often what's called an adversary hearing, where the department is trying to make their case for why they should be able to remove children. If that first step is lost, it's very common for those people to go on to be criminally charged. And in the last less than 2 years, I have had 10 of those involving allegations of shaken baby, abusive head trauma, non-accidental trauma. They have a whole ever-changing list of names that they call it. And we've won every single one of those cases. If that gives you any idea of the actual medical strength of the cases that they're bringing forward at this point. We have one of my now dear friends and families from the last 2 years that I think had to step away from the direct sun, standing right over here with their 5 beautiful children, whose child had a late onset vitamin K deficiency brain bleed at Dell Children's Hospital, which had been accurately diagnosed that way. And then somewhere between that diagnosis and a couple weeks in the hospital, the child abuse pediatricians decided that it was believable that this child suffered this major medical condition that had been properly diagnosed and had also somehow in that time period had the unfortunate luck of being shaken by his family, who was all together at this point. I could literally stand here for days and tell you stories that would blow your mind about the facts of these cases, but we don't have time to do that. Every one of these families whose cases that I have taken at the CPS level are families who I would bet my own life on their innocence. And then as we work through the facts of the cases with our oftentimes far more qualified medical experts, every single last one of them had a medical explanation that made 1,000 times more sense than a diagnosis of child abuse. To jump on what some of the other speakers have already said, they make the decision that they are suspicious for child abuse from the moment these people walk in the door, and they base it on a constellation of symptoms that for many years has largely been thought of to only have one possible cause. And I would challenge you to consider how absurd in medicine is it that a particular combination of symptoms can only be caused by one thing. It is medically false, it is contrary to modern medical science, and every one of these families could have been saved the trauma of what they went through, let alone had they gone on to be criminally charged, had the people in these children's hospitals done their job. It ranges everything from late onset vitamin K deficiency bleeds to causes like genetic coagulation factors to birth injuries to strokes. There are thousands of reasons that we see similar symptoms to what I see in every one of my cases and to what was used to convict Robert Robertson. We struggle to get medical records from the hospitals. CPS and the medical system make it difficult at every level, and these cases are extremely expensive and difficult to properly defend. But that is literally what it takes to save these families, and in the case of Robertson, what it would have taken to save his life. As we stand here today, Texas is this close to executing a man on a theory that is at best as shaky as it gets, and at worst, complete and total nonsense. And it used to be that these children, their lives were at risk by an improper diagnosis because the diagnosis dictates what treatment they have have going forward. If you diagnose it as abuse and it's something else, their lives are at risk. But based on the Robertson case, it's not just the child's lives who are at risk, it's now also the parents' lives that are at risk from the moment that they walk into that hospital if the medical professionals don't get it right. And I'm here to tell you right now, as a mother of 4 children, that every person standing out here, every person in every county in the state of Texas, because I handle these everywhere, it's not just 1 or 2 hospitals, it's all of them. They operate with a similar MO. It is terrifying to think that not only could your child die as a result of a medical mistake, but now